r/AskReddit, what's the weirdest habit you've witnessed in a friend's kitchen? Better than my Mill, who makes hers with a spaghetti seasoning packet and a jar of grape jelly. My husband will leave every cabinet door and every drawer he goes into open and walk away. I can go into our kitchen and know where he's been and likely what he's eating based on this. I remember my dad freaking out on us as kids if we did this. I now realize that I am my father's daughter because OMG is it annoying. Friend of ours did this and I walked head on into the cabinet. I told him off not very nicely and he fucking knew if he did it again I'd shank him with a spoon. I had a roommate after college that said the best way to boil water was a slow boil. He insisted on using low heat. This is hilarious. A guy I went out with in high school's dad had, I swear to God, an entire wall stacked with Coca-Cola 12 packs. Must have been 8 by 8 feet. No one was allowed to drink any of the cans though, except for him. If we wanted Coke we had to drink from the stale 2-liter in the fridge. Haha, I have a mini fridge full of Dr. Pepper cans that only I'm allowed to drink, because I don't drink them very fast and everyone in the house would get to them first and I wouldn't get any. My uncle left raw chicken out on the counter for who knows how long and it was covered in ants. I let him know. He rinsed the ants off, and put the chicken back in the fridge. Horrifying. A friend of mine keeps all her groceries in the refrigerator. Chips, flour, spices, boxed macaroni, cans of soup. Everything. Edit, many people assume she grew up with pests. Her parents' house was not only luxurious but completely spotless. Never even saw a spider in there. Last time I saw her she lived in an equally as spotless apartment. No crumbs in the toaster, spotless bathroom sink. No pests, just paranoia. Knew a guy that kept his chef knife stabbed into the wall. Your friend grew up with cockroaches. Glock in the fridge, not sure if it would mess things up, but I guess if shit went down that's probably the last place people would look. There's too much heat on this gunny, no. What, you don't have a fridge gun? Why do you hate freedom? I momentarily pictured a glockenspiel in the fridge. Revenge is best served cold? The dishcloth used once only. Do the dishes wipe down the stovetop, counters, cupboard fronts then throw in the bin and get a new one? Must cost a lot. I was totally on board until the bin. I do the same but it goes into the laundry and gets reused. Throwing it away is insanity. Friend of mine growing up had me over for family dinner, spaghetti. When everyone, 5 to 6 of us total, were done, the mom scraped all the uneaten spaghetti on everyone's plate back into the big pot. Makes you wonder if you got a virgin pot or a rerun. Love to eat drywall dust while wondering if the host is unstable enough to kill me. A bunch of us were hanging out at our mate's place while his parents were out of town. We get hungry so he offers to make grilled cheese. He pulls out the cheese and I shit you not I thought it was a block of butter carved into a skate park half pipe. We watched incredulously as he scooped the knife along the top in a semi-circle motion. We all burst out laughing and he's like, what? That's how mom does it? LOL. My husband's old roommate used to take a new dish every time he ate something then leave it behind in his room instead of putting it in the dishwasher. One day it occurred to my husband that there were like 5 dishes left in the kitchen and the rest were nowhere to be found, until he looked in said roommate's room and found his moldy hoard. Their sheets started sharting all over the place. They grabbed the dog and washed him in the sink and then didn't clean or sanitize it afterwards. My old roommate would take a coffee cup from the night before with old coffee and milk in it and make a new one in the morning without dumping the old coffee out first. The perpetual stew version of coffee. Not a friend but a roommate. He would open a yogurt, eat 1 spoonful and then put the yogurt and spoon in the fridge open. He did that with all kinds of food. At one point the entire fridge was just that. Put some kimchi in the fridge for an hour and see how the open yogurt tastes then. Cut up raw meat using bare hands, then opened drawers, cabinets, and the fridge before washing their hands. When she asked if I wanted to do weekly meal prep with her, I politely declined. Ugh, this takes me back to living with my mom. She would touch ground meat and then open cupboards and utensils. Found out a friend uses the same sponge to clean his kitchenware, cat bowls, and the dustbin/filter on the cordless vacuum. Must be the dullest knives ever. He's gonna live to 150. Diseases bow down to him. I had to fight the urge to downvote this. Putting vegetables to stir fry into a cold pan, then adding oil, then turning the pan on. That's a full-blown psycho. NGL I only do this because years ago I heated my oil, poured a bag of frozen veggies into the pan, I was like 13, and the entire thing went up in flames. I also learned that day water does not stop an oil fire. No one was allowed to brush their teeth in the bathroom sink, or wash their hands in it either. You had to wash your hands in the bathtub and brush your teeth in the kitchen sink. Sounds like a plumbing problem. Reading the replies to this post reconfirms why I don't eat at potlucks. Edit, a coworker said she mixed her broccoli salad in the kitchen sink, and I haven't been able to eat at a potluck since. Stuff of nightmares. My mom witnessed a distant friend empty her child's potty into the kitchen sink. Needless to say, we never ate there ever again. That's weird, isn't the child potty usually kept in the bathroom? Why come all the way to the kitchen to empty it instead of using the toilet where that stuff is supposed to go? I'm not a friend, but I was a Tupperware lady in the 90s. I got to the woman's house to set up for her party and she was in the kitchen talking to me. I see her grab the kitchen towel, wipe her dog's bottom with it, and she says to me she's on her period. Then she went back to making her sushi rolls and kept using the same towel. Friend bought their dream home. Multi-million dollars, on the water, etc., etc. Walked into the most beautiful kitchen to find every single cupboard, drawer, shelf space, counter space, appliance, switch plate, every fucking thing, labeled with a Dymo label. Must have spent hundreds of dollars on vinyl Dymo labels. But have you ever had a label maker? I just got one to organize Christmas stuff and now I'm labeling everything inside. I've seen this done at lake houses that rent to guests. Norris Lake in Tennessee is one. My grandmother would drop her ciggy butts and sweet and amp, low packets down the garbage disposer. My weird mom soaking peanuts in milk and eating butter by the cube. I sure miss her. Maybe I'm weird, but going over to my best friend's house as a teen, they would make their sandwiches and eat things like chips directly on the countertops. No paper towel or plate. It was a clean house, but still grosses me out. My son had a girlfriend who would do that at my mom's house. On the living room furniture. If he tried to put something under her food at grandma's, she'd say she grew up too poor to worry about things like that. I eventually started picking up her random foodstuffs and tossed them out when she wasn't looking. I had an acquaintance whose place I went to a couple of times for parties. On both occasions, they brought out a blender to blend wine. I think one of the times I just saw them blend a single bottle, but another time they blended 2 bottles together, to a weird result. I think they fundamentally misunderstood what it meant to blend wines and thought that it involved the appliance. I was absolutely gobsmacked but didn't know them well enough to feel comfortable with asking them why they did it. Wait, you're not hyper-decanting? My mill apparently has a thing against counter space. Okay, this is the worst story on this entire thread. I had a friend and the only space clear was the stove. No clue how they cooked. Mine too, and I didn't notice it at first. My girl kept randomly putting more shit on counter space and I'm like whyy, and then I remembered her parents' house. And it's not like ADHD doom piles, but like, intentionally keeping everything on every surface. Their silverware drawer wasn't organized by utensil, everything was just thrown in at random. Holy fuck, that's monstrous. A utensil drawer I can understand, but silverware? Madness. I know someone who throws away almost nothing. Which wouldn't be a terrible habit if it didn't mean offering you the moldy lemon that has been sitting on the counter for God only knows how long, because God forbid she just cut a new lemon. Tomatoes, peppers, anything. I try not to eat there. She is very well off and has never been poor. I don't think her parents were incredibly wealthy, but they were at least middle class, but she has this hoarder mindset, especially around food. Also, she refuses to use chef's knives and cooks exclusively with steak knives. Taking raw chicken and putting it directly in her flour canister to cover with flour to fry. I am still horrified years later. Keeping the water running at full speed while doing other tasks. As in for minutes. Not to achieve a certain temperature. And getting mad when ID turned it off and passive-aggressively turning it back on after ID said it was wasteful and made me uncomfy. Rot in hell, Kimberly. Think of the fish, Kimberly. I opened a friend's fridge and it contained 30 to 40 cans of whipped cream and nothing else. Family of 3. Nitrous is a hell of a drug. My ex-Phil thought traditional spaghetti with meat sauce was too spicy. So he would make noodles and top them with ground beef and ketchup. Hello everyone. Thanks for sticking to the end of this video. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to humbly ask you to subscribe to the channel. According to my statistics, 100% of my viewers in the past 28 days are not subscribed. I have always wanted this channel to reach 1000 subscribers, and if you want to support and be a part of that, subscribe. It's free and it's an awesome way to support the channel. Thanks again. Reddit glitch out.